On Mountain Lake PBS is made possible in part by our members. By Graymont Materials and its divisions, suppliers of construction aggregates and construction materials to the North Country.
Hi everybody, Bill Safe III. Welcome to this week's edition of Rod and Reel. Today, a very special Great Lakes angling program in store for you. Joining me, actually, I'm joining him on board his boat, the Osprey One, is Captain Shan Bissell. He's one of Lake Ontario's best and most knowledgeable charter captains. Today he's going to put us through the paces as we fish for Chinook salmon with Beckhold flashers and flies. It's going to be a lesson in how to take these staging kings, and it's coming your way on this week's edition of Rod and Reel.
Just get aboard the Rod and Reel, it's time to leave. Another adventure waits for me. Just come with us and you will see what fishing's really meant to be.
Bill Safe's Rod and Reel is made possible in part by grants from Car Freshener Corporation, believers in the great outdoors through quality public television.
Well, we started out early this morning at the crack of dawn as we left Shan's home port in Pulteneyville, New York. We pulled out and we ran about 11 miles out in Lake Ontario into in excess of 700 feet of water. One of the reasons that we were running there is because there had been a lack of bait close to shore along the edges of Lake Ontario. So we were out in deep water looking for bait stores and fish that were up high in the temperature zone that we know is key for Great Lakes kings. I'll tell you, we'd arrived on our destination, and as I recall, we were in about 716 feet of water, and we'd only been trolling 10 or 15 minutes when Shan found himself locked up on a dipsy diver combination on the wire with the first king of the day. Watch this action because it almost turns into a double. This is a standby rig for you down here, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Get you up on that rigger.
Yeah,
I'll clear this
up.
bait out for you. Man, he's a good one, Shan.
Only 25 feet down, too.
Good one. Good fish.
Good fish, yeah.
Boy, he is burying it.
Oh, yeah.
What's he out to on the counter right now?
235.
235.
Yeah.
How many feet on the line counter on that one, Shan?
900. 900. He slowed down a little bit there now, so.
How far down did you have? How many feet out did you have it?
60 feet of wire on the 2 settings.
On the 2 settings.
Yep.
So something in that 35-foot range,
Correct.
probably?
Exactly.
All right, we'll just clear the... You want me to leave the other wire in, or you want me to pull
Let's leave it. Let's leave it. I think we're all right here.
All right.
Uh,
Come on right over here, Shan.
sounds like a teenager to me.
Right? Yeah, he is just smoking
Well,
it.
maybe a little bigger than a teenager.
Now,
Yeah.
as we're fighting this king, explain to the folks why we're in the depth of water we're in and what we're doing here this morning, because a lot of boats that are coming out of the Sodus and Pulteneyville area are fishing shallow this morning, and we went right out to 700 plus feet looking for these fish. Why?
Well, it seems that the main part is we wanted to do here is to catch some salmon as opposed to working on some brown trout, which there are a lot of brown trout in closer. But the bulk of the salmon are yet to come in here because it's kind of early August.
Right.
So the best thing to do is to come out and look for them. And there's been a couple of boats that came out here and had a little result. So and the inshore thing is pretty much brown trout. So they're kind of staging up here to come in the various areas wherever they've been stocked. And there one boat here a couple days ago got 6 or 8 kings there. So.
Right. And we noticed when we flipped the Furuno on out here that we had a lot of stuff banded in that 25 to 50 range.
Yep.
And just running those short wires. And of course, one of the things we're going to talk about today when we're fishing on the Osprey with you is that sometimes less is more. Isn't it?
Less is best. That's my, I don't like to run a lot of especially with salmon, I have a tendency to believe that a lot of stuff spooks them. They're kind of a shy fish, you know, and even though they're aggressive, they're still kind of shy. And I think too much clutter.
Oh,
there,
guess
there
what? We
goes
got a
one of the
double
other
arm.
dips. What, are you gonna kid me? Look here.
Missed him. Missed him. Missed him. Dang it. What a shame.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it right back in and set it right back up and bury it again.
Okay.
Almost
Yeah.
doubled on him.
I'll be doing that shaking my hand here in a few minutes. Nothing like a king. Absolutely nothing.
How many feet on your counter right now, Chan?
239. It doesn't look like I gain much. Every time I gain 4 or 5 feet, I lose 10. So
Right.
the secret to bringing salmon in on a dipsy, I find out, is as long as you can keep nice steady pressure on them and not try to gain too much line. Just do it short strokes, little bit of line each time. And if they get a little powerful, you just relax a little bit and let them tug on the tip of the rod there. Just keep an arc right up there high. Notice how I lean my back to the back so that I can get a little bit more leverage on them. And I work them in slow.
With the boat running.
With the boat running, we're keeping the
fish under
pressure, keep the pressure on them all the time. And the dipsy diver and the dipsy rod is a kind of a difficult thing. A lot of fellas don't particularly like them, but they do produce an awful lot of fish. And this season I've been running totally with a Beckhole flasher and a fly with my dipsies and my downriggers, and I found out that they've been very productive. And I can't say as they outproduce everything in the water because there's other things that work as well. But
Right.
the Beckhole flasher to me is right up there in the top producers.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's kind of a standby bait on the wire for us up at the east end of the lake. In fact, I'll tell you what, we've got a great king fight on a Beckhole and fly coming off the wire that we did last year fishing in the trench at Henderson. Well, you got this guy out still 171 feet. What do you say we go take a look at that king coming in the boat and then revisit you in a minute?
Oh, we can do that.
All right,
We'll be
let's
right
go
back.
to it.
That's a good thing. I'll get him up here closer in a minute.
We're back 160 feet on the port side of the boat, and we're 175 feet on the starboard side of the boat. And what you need to know about running wire dipsies is that on a number 3 setting with a large size dipsy, which is what we're using today, it's a 3-to-1 ratio. So if you let 150 feet of wire out, you're basically going to have that diver in the 50-foot range. Now that's going to vary obviously according to the setting on your diver and the speed that you're trolling, but that at least gives you an approximation. Experimentation is going to tell you the rest after you get running these. But to hit this fish on what most fishermen in the Great Lakes region call a hoochie mama, which is that Beckhole flasher, it is really, really a thrill. Now the other aspect of running wire that's so important and so critical is that it allows you to get deeper because the wire has weight, it has small line diameter, so it allows the dipsy to get deeper than it would on traditional monofilament or a co-filament line. What's neat about the fight is that there's zero stretch in wire. So every time this king muscles away, you feel everything in the rod. Okay, neutral, George. What we're doing here this morning and what we've talked about in the program is running a variety of different baits. There are several different ways that you can maximize action on king salmon during the staging process. Now the staging process, depending upon which Great Lake you're on, is going to take place anywhere from the middle of August right through about the 2nd, 3rd week of September. It happens to be early September that we're fishing. And generally these fish, at least in our region of the eastern basin of Lake Ontario, are going to be in the 80 to 125 foot depth. Now we said this dipsy was down around 175 foot forward. 175 feet of line out. So what we've actually got is a fish that was probably somewhere in the 55 to 60 foot range is where I would guess that that bait was trolling. We set that at that level this morning, not by happenstance. We run a temperature probe down, one of the other boats that's fishing with us today, and saw that there was a break in and around the 60 foot range, where it went from mid 50s to low 60s down to a constant 50 to 51 degrees. And we know that that's a comfortable temperature for kings to locate in, even though we weren't seeing bait in that region, and we had our other rods in the pattern, one set higher and one set lower. We thought that would be a good idea to cover, look at that guy go, wow, to cover that thermocline break area with these wire rods. They're spread way outside the pattern. They don't affect what's happening with the other rods, and they're excellent bonus rod systems to run to take advantage of kings that might be up in an area that you don't want to key in on with your downriggers. That's exactly what happened. We were barely set up 5 minutes here, and that Beckholden flasher went, and boy, this is a dandy king. Forward. We're going to work him in close. He came to the surface right here, and the flasher came out of water, and he really powered away right there. He may try to get green with us again at the back of the boat. I don't know. George, give me neutral. You know, you've heard us talk about this on the program before. It's critical to have a good person at the wheel because they help you fight these kings, and they're just as important as the guy on the rod. Forward, fish is dead center, coming in on this side, George. Tough sun position. Here he's coming up right here. You can see the hoochie mamas coming out of the water right there. Big king. Neutral. Big king. Four to the right, George. Fish is running into the boat on me. Fish is up. Hold on him, Johnny. Let me work it to you. Neutral. A nice king. Johnny, I've got a lot of leader out, so I'm going to have to back up for you. If you can take him right there, that'd be great. Thank you. Excellent job. Good going. Beautiful, beautiful hen king. Oh boy, there he goes. Going on that other bird. You wouldn't think he'd still be green, you know, after this amount of time.
Unbelievable. They're absolutely the greatest fighting fish, I think. I have people that like to fish stripers, but boy, once they tangle with one of these, right, I'll tell you what, whole new ball game.
You know, Shan said he was kind of short stroking this fish, doing a little bit of time holding the pressure on it. One of the things he's doing is not having a depth grip on the rod. I mean, that left hand's just a support hand. Yeah. He's just kind of laying there and letting the rod, the flex of that rod, fight the fish, and it's just a retrieval. And if you just take your time a little bit at a time, boy, you're going to get these fish to the back of the boat.
You see, now, if you get the tip of the rod down too far, right, then they get control, you know. Right. That's what I try to tell everybody. If
I'll
you
tell
keep
you what,
it,
this is a pretty good fish.
It is.
Can't got this just a little guy, you know. And now, if you see me reaching in my pocket for a little vial and putting things in, this is nitro filled. We got to keep you in shape. Probably when he gets in here close,
I'll tell nature.
Spin the boat and keep him off this wire.
No, I ain't worried about that.
Okay, we can get him
I'm
in.
good at this.
Who would think, you know, coming out here and trying to tag a fish like this at 700 plus? One of the nice things about fishing in your area, and you're running your boat at this time of year out of Pulteneyville, New York.
Right.
Where we spring brown trout fish together. Yep. One of the nice things about coming out of this region for kings and getting to deep water, which net you want me to go with? This one right here? Is that It's not that far to deep water, is it?
9 miles. Excuse me. We're out about 10 miles right now, 10 and a half miles, straight out. Well, this guy's got some character.
Does,
Yeah, some
you know what we refer to that as? Big fish attitude.
Yeah, he's got character.
You can see the diver coming on
There he
the
is.
surface right now with a
Yeah.
king. Here's an important aspect when fighting a king on a diver. You see that diver comes up out of the water. There's 7 feet of leader going back to that fish. When that diver breaks the surface of the water, if you're on the rod, you're going to feel a momentary lapse, some slack in the line. You need to wind on that quick and retrieve it. And when all possible, once that diver gets up out of the water, try to keep it there. Then you don't have that weight hanging between the fish and the angler, even though it's in the planing position and it's taking the path of least resistance. This king's coming right in here in good shape.
He's tired out, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You got another rod here in the water. We don't want a king that's going crazy at the back of the boat. And usually, that's a nice aspect of fighting these fish on the wire, is that when they do finally get to the back of the boat, they're fairly well played out. Oh yeah, nice fish, mister. Nice fish on the black dipsy. Line to him. Line to him.
I got him.
Okay. Sitting here telling you what to do. Old charter captain happens, never die. Hey, Shane, could you raise your rod tip and back up a little bit? I want to make sure you know what you're doing. Boy,
We got a nice king here.
He is a dinger. Now you look at a mature hen fish like this, Shan, coming out here in deep water, and this fish is starting
to turn color.
Yeah, it's starting to bronze up.
Yeah.
And starting to get into that staging color a little bit.
Yeah.
And
you want to show them folks there the nice hook job there with a single hook of a treble hook there.
Right.
Only one hook in them, and we do run with a harness here, see. But this particular fish only took it on the light side there, and that's where we hooked them. That's it, one little hook.
Up towards the front.
Up towards the front.
And that may explain why we came off the fish that hit. We almost had a double there, and it could be they're coming up and picking at it.
Yep.
Yeah, and short hitting. Critical when you're doing this, absolutely critical to not skimp on the quality of your hooks when you're running any kind of flash or fly combination.
And I like the Gamakatsu myself. That's a Gamakatsu and a Gamakatsu. So they're about the strongest hook, or I think they are the strongest hook on the market. And very rarely do they break, and they very rarely bend at all.
Yeah, and incredibly sharp. Nice big hen fish like right there. What do you say we put her in the box?
Let's do that.
Beautiful job. One of the critical pieces of equipment for Great Lakes fishermen, it doesn't matter what Great Lake you're on, is a good quality line counter reel and dipsy divers. Veteran king fishermen know how critical these dipsies can be to hooking up with kings, and we've seen the activity that we've had on Chinook salmon on the wire with the dipsies here today. Line counter, why? We want to know specifically how much wire we've got out in the water. Now, the setup Shan's using here today, 27-pound test wire. He's got it coming through the rod and terminated here at the front end of the dipsy. One of the key features on any of these wire dipsy rods is some type of guide apparatus at the tip that is going to keep that wire from jeopardizing the integrity of the eyelet on the end of the rod. Now, there's two ways to do that. You can either do it with a roller guide or with what's called a twilly tip, which he has on the tip of the rod here. Wire strung through, it's terminated, and goes directly to the dipsy. Now, you can run the dipsy on a 3 setting, a 2 setting, whatever's going to work the best. We happen to be running them today here on Shan's boat on a 2 setting because we're only fishing 2 downriggers in the center, and we're down on short leads on the outsides at around 60 feet of wire and 80 feet of wire. We're trying to put those baits in the 30 to 40 foot range. We go to a snubber. Why? No stretch in the wire. When the king hits, we want this to stretch out. That snubber is loaded with 200-pound test Dacron. It stretches, absorbs the strike, and then comes tight at the end so that you get a good hook set on these kings. Very, very important piece of material here. 6 feet of lead, a fluorocarbon, back to the bait that we're using. Of course, we're using the Beckhold flasher unit. Most captains on Lake Ontario are running between an 18 to 22-inch lead back to the fly behind the Beckhold flasher. Shan has got his set today here on Lake Ontario at 21 inches. Wire rods with dipsies, critical for moving those baits to the side, staying in contact with these suspended kings, but placing the baits away from the disturbance of the boat so that they're comfortable hunting, tracking, and inevitably striking these baits and getting you some hookups. I'm on him, Shan, right here.
Okay.
He's coming up and crossing.
There he is. There he is.
Can you believe
See
it?
him go. Look at him ripping across the water there.
Yeah, he's starting to work across there.
Yeah, look at that. There he goes.
Boy, he's going to try to cross the boat on us,
look, at,
isn't
look,
he?
at, look at him. I'm going to clear this line off.
You want to clear that wire over there?
Yeah,
Or
take
you
it
want to
off.
just
Yeah.
me to work him up on the side?
He's coming up on the side there.
Woo! He's kind of in a good position. He's just kind of swimming out there next to the boat.
Yeah,
It
keep it
took
up.
him a minute. We're in kind of cold water out here, folks, and sometimes that colder water, they're not lighting it right up. I mean, this rigger was down 53 feet, and I think we were looking at high 40s there, weren't we, Shan?
That's right. 43 down 70 feet.
Right, so, you know, we're up in that 47, 48, 49 range on the other. Here goes on a burn. Bright silver fish. There he goes. On that Beckhold fly combination again. He tagged it, went right straight up. When you see the rod fire on these kings, you just got to get the main mistake most people make is they pick that rod up and they try to set the hook. There's billow in that line going down, and generally, when a king strikes, he's going to come up, rise, and run, and there's going to be some slack there. The key is putting a burn on that reel until you feel the tension of the fish, and then sweep setting them, not jacking them up, you know?
That's it.
You've got such good sharp hooks on these, it's just a matter of getting tight with them and staying tight.
Oh, he's coming right up towards the boat there.
We could take them in this corner.
Yeah.
That rig is still down. I never
No.
did bring it up.
We're all right. I'll do the netting for you, Bill. Let me get over on your other side
All
there.
right.
There we go. You're doing an excellent job.
Get them right in here and get them in
Boy,
position.
that's a nice salmon, too.
Yeah, he's sharking pretty
Yeah,
good.
he is.
Sharking pretty good.
Yes, he is. Ready, Bill?
Yep.
Okay, lift it right up, Bill.
Hold on a second. I'm
Come
going
on,
right to
lift
you.
right up. Look at how dumb they are.
Nice job, mister.
Sometimes.
Hey,
Sometimes.
that's nice.
That's a nice fish right there. Look at here. That's a 20-pounder almost.
Yeah, beautiful. Looks like another henfish, Shan,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
but one that's not quite as advanced as far as getting ready to spawn and go.
I think we got a little angry at us there. What do you think?
Thought I was gonna
Okay, we're just going to give him a light tap on the head there to
subdue him.
subdue him a little bit. Watch your pup.
Look out, Venus.
That's all.
You know, that's kind of important, and folks at home who are watching that, you see a tap of fish on the head like that, if you're going to keep them, which we are with this king, it's very important because with those Gamakatsu hooks being extra sharp like that, if you reach in and try to pull that fish out of there without subduing them and
You're
stunning
right.
them so that you can take the hook out, it's really
Yes.
a dangerous situation.
Many people have done that, and they've tried to grab a hold of the fish, and then they wind up with a hook in their hand, and that's not a good thing. I want you to take a notice here. We're running this harness with a fly, and this fish is so aggressive that it's got both hooks inside of its mouth.
Shan, hooking these kings is just part of the deal. I mean, there are people who are going to come out here and hook them all day long, but not get them in the boat successfully. There are really some critical points to landing kings successfully once you've got them on the line. Take us through a step-by-step on what you do on board the Osprey to get those fish in the net.
Well, I've found out through the years here that a lot of people that come and do this type of fishing are totally inexperienced with handling the rod, so the key ingredient is, number one, to make sure that they can kind of control the fish and go through a little orientation as the fish is coming in. And as they fight the fish runs and comes back, and you have to maintain that constant pressure. on the fish all the time. Slack line, generally the fish is gone, unless he's hooked exceptionally well.
Right.
And in most cases with a salmon, I found out that probably 50% of them are just lightly hooked, just with one hook. And those are the ones that usually get away by doing the mistakes, forcing them a little too much, not waiting for them to tire out a little bit, which is critical. You got to make sure that the fish is slackening up. They are a powerful fish. And when we're bringing the fish in, I always keep the boat in gear all the time. And the only time is when that I take it out of gear is when the person can't seem to gain any line because the fish is out too far. I'll take it out of gear only for a couple of seconds to watch the line, make sure that he's keeping the pressure on the fish and gaining a little bit. But as soon as his rod tip starts to weaken, I put it back in gear so that I can kind of maintain pressure with the boat on.
It's a two-part process.
That's a two-part process.
The angler and whoever's at the wheel.
That's exactly right.
Bill Safe's Rod and Reel is made possible in part by grants from Car Freshener Corporation, believers in the great outdoors through quality public television. To receive your own video cassette copy of this program for $24.95, call 1-800-869-2665 or write to the address on your screen. When ordering, please refer to the program number on your screen. That's 1-800-869-2665.
Tie the fly on. I don't use any snaps over in there. There's a snap swivel built into the Beckhole flasher. So I just run my loop of the leader that I just tied through the flasher ring or eyelet on their swivel, and then I put the fly and the hooks and everything right through the loop and pull it right out the other end. And then I just draw the loop up just like that. And that's all there is to it right there.
Presentation of Bill Safe's Rod and Reel on Mountain Lake PBS is made possible in part by our members. By Graymont Materials and its divisions, suppliers of construction aggregates and construction materials to the North Country.
Do you remember this appraisal?
When we first saw you, my heart started going like this.
Antiques Roadshow has dusted off our most valuable treasures
This is truly, oh, sorry, I'm all worked up.
and put them all in one special show.
It's a national treasure, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh. Oh my Lord.
Discover Antiques Roadshow's greatest finds. Don't miss it.
Tomorrow night at 8 here on Mountain Lake PBS.
From American experience,
the whole thing sounded ridiculous. Symbionese Liberation Army.
Critics call it remarkable, explosive, a must-see.
It is probably the mystery story of the 20th century.
Fascinating, scintillating, very entertaining.
I'm a soldier in the People's Army.
Hands down, the best documentary of the year. Gorilla, The Taking of Patty Hearst on American Experience.
Tomorrow night at 9 here on Mountain Lake PBS.
Next time on Nova.
I lived a decent and upright life until I was locked up and rechristened Typhoid Mary.
Imprisoned without trial for the sake of the common good. Her story made history and raises challenging questions we still face today.
Might be Ebola virus, HIV.
Liberty is taken away in the name of public health.
The most dangerous woman in America.
Tuesday night at 8 here on Mountain Lake PBS.
Don't miss Celtic Woman. Ireland's most beautiful stars bring you the world's most beautiful songs. Celtic Woman.
Coming next week on Mountain Lake PBS. Better start practicing now for the 2005 Mountain Lake PBS Golf Tournament. Join us Friday, June 24th at Club de Golf International 2000 in Lacolle, Quebec for a 1 p.m. shotgun start. This four-person scramble event will consist of men's, women's, and mixed divisions. The cost is $75 U.S. funds per person, $300 per foursome. Entry fee includes greens fee, cart, dinner, and more. Golfers will vie for cash prizes and merchandise. Register online at www.mountainlake.org or call Lisa at 1-800-836-5700 extension 103. The 2005 Mountain Lake PBS Golf Tournament is sponsored by Twin State Voice Data Video.